It's been a little while since we've talked about a weekly update for Vanguard and Warzone because, frankly, most of the updates that we get every single Thursday just aren't worth talking about. Most of them have just been playlist updates, but over the course of the last 72 hours or so, across both Vanguard and Warzone, there's definitely been some noteworthy changes that will bring us back to talking about an update here on our normal Thursday update. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What are you liking or disliking out of these changes made across Vanguard and Warzone? If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. It helps out in the algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, you'd like to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Whether it be Warzone loadouts, tips and tricks, Vanguard and potentially Modern Warfare 2 news, or just some looks back at your favorite games, I'd love to have you in the community as we push towards 500,000 subscribers here on the channel. And finally, if you'd ever like to support the channel a little further, an entirely optional way to do so is by using creator code Espresso in the in-game shop. It's entirely optional, so don't ever feel pressure to, but anyways, let's jump into it. Let's start out with the mainline game here, that being Vanguard. Now, most of the relevant Vanguard changes have come out in the last 24 hours or so. The playlist actually updated as of yesterday, and not today, though today we did see some changes in regards to some weapon tuning. Now, the modes on hand for this week are Arms Race, Gonda Blanca 24/7, Casablanca and Gondola in a 24/7 playlist, Small Map Mayhem, something we've seen return here, Tactician's Toolkit, which is 6v6 control, Domination and Hardpoint on various maps, and then Champion Hill Trios. And also, while it's not on the main menu, if you're camo grinding, in the Hardcore Quick Play filter selection, there's actually still the playlist of Shipment DOS Dome. That's not really anywhere else, so if you guys want to grind out your camos in Hardcore, that is a great playlist to do so in. And I was also kind of surprised talking about these playlists that we saw the experimental playlist also already removed. For those that missed it, it was basically a test server playlist for new spawn logic in various maps and modes, which is really cool. You could give direct feedback then and have a preview of some of the changes that were being worked on in real time. I really like that concept and idea. Seemed others did as well, so from here on out, if you guys want to have an experimental playlist, I'm all for it, Sledge. Keep that coming. I love seeing those changes and having the direct feedback of the community help better craft a gaming experience. But as for the changes today, that's something that comes down to some camo changes, weapon tuning, and ranked play. Now, the camo change that we'll talk about here comes along for the Armaguerra 43. That previously had the Mind Game challenge. The tracking was smoothed out here for this, where those challenges required you to get 100 kills without taking damage with the Perfetto custom barrel, skeletal stock, and the discard proficiency, though I'm not entirely sure what the exact issue was surrounding this. I know that when I was getting my Armaguerra Atomic, I had one of those challenges track double where I was completing a different challenge set, but also got credit for that next one. I think that one that was bugged that was giving me credit where I wasn't working on it was the Mind Game challenges, but I can't be sure. So that issue should now be corrected. But I mean, to my knowledge, it was just kind of sort of bonus tracking. The actual challenge itself wasn't necessarily bugged or anything like that, but that should be truly fixed out now. You're still able to get gold, diamond, and atomic, or if you weren't able to beforehand, you now should be able to. Though, talking about camos here that you may be curious on, for those that watched Major 1 of the Call of Duty League, and you ended up earning that Snakebite universal camo to use on any single weapon, that was actually something that was supposed to come out a couple of days ago, but still has not been. Now, I ended up reaching out to who I know in the CDL to see if there's any confirmation of this, but haven't heard anything back as of the time of recording this, but fingers crossed that gets unlocked here soon for those that ended up earning it. It's not an insanely cool camo, but I mean, it's a universal camo you can use on any weapon. The first of its kind within Vanguard that is actually free. You don't have to pay anything here for it. So I definitely want to get my hands on that. And quickly talking other viewership rewards, Major 2 is going on right now for the CDL, in which that ends up on Sunday, seeing you have the opportunity to earn out of 45 minutes of watch time the Norseman STG blueprint, which looks pretty cool, but that's something that hopefully is more ironed out whenever that comes out as well. Now, outside of that, we did see that weapon tuning took place here with this update as well, in which, reading through these here, the Cooper Carbine had a couple of its barrels adjusted here, in which we had an increase to the ADS time of the 22-inch Cooper Custom barrel. The Ragdoll short barrel ended up having a decrease in its recoil when firing. The Ragdoll G45 had a decrease while firing in its recoil as well, and the Cooper 45 RS stock had an initial recoil while firing increase. Now, the Type 11 had a decrease in its recoil when firing. The Bren had an increase to the sprint out time and hip fire spread, while specific attachments of the Oaken Shield 590mm barrel ended up getting a decrease in its ADS time, and the BMG rounds on the 50-round magazine had an increase to its ADS time and hip fire spread. Now, the Whitley, the big problematic weapon here since its introduction, the BMG 150-round box mag ended up having its damage bonus decreased by 32%, so a significant nerf here to that should maybe shift shift the meta a little bit in regards to some of the weapon choices, but of course you still have things like the Bren and the Bar that still have their BMG rounds doing incredible damage, so you might just see a shift back to those. Now, also, the M1 Garand ended up having its ADS time decreased, with the 30-06 and 6.5 Sakura drum magazines having their ammo capacity increased from 16 rounds to 20 rounds. The SVT-40 had an increase in its ADS time. The G43 had a decrease in its ADS time and decrease in its hipfire spread, making it a little bit more powerful there. The Kar98K had an issue addressed that caused a slower than intended ADS time when an optic attachment was not equipped. The Combat Shield addressed an issue that allowed an enemy attack dog to deal damage through the shield, and the Machine Pistol had a decrease in its recoil when firing and a decrease in its hipfire spread. The only other stuff that we could talk about in regards to Vanguard is a little bit in relation to ranked play, but that happened a couple of days ago here at this, where there were some ranked play updates that Treyarch put out talking about how players should now earn more SR after wins and lose less after losses. There were reductions to the impact that match performance has on the amount of SR won or lost, and more consistent gains or losses overall to your SR. And that kind of rounds out the Vanguard side of things here. But when we talk about Warzone, some of our gameplay changes here as of recently came down to actual Rebirth Resurgence related events. The communication towers were activated around the map, in which for $1,500 you can end up getting these static pings here from those towers, acting as a UAV from those locations. So certainly helpful and something that can absolutely be situational to give you more information on where enemies may be. Those payloads are now active as well, in which that's something that then can go towards the Rebirth Reinforced challenge. We need 130 million of those payloads pushed, which seems to be something that we could actually end up getting in the next couple of days here if the pacing of the last two are any indication. And then after that, well, as of next week at some point, we're going to have the ability to get $40 trillion in blood money to unlock those golden vaults, which I am all for. Hopefully that means there's a new Easter egg. I'd be, again, ecstatic about that, but we'll have to wait and see. That's still a little bit out of our viewpoint here at this. The only other stuff that was changed within Warzone recently were some perk adjustments here. Stuff that some of these we've been asking for ages. The biggest of that being Ghost. Now, for those of you guys that have followed the channel, you know I love Warzone. I play way too much, admittedly, and it's something that Ghost has been the bane of my existence. Since Modern Warfare launched, never quite understood why we couldn't just have it like our traditional Ghost that we've known for ages in Treyarch games, where it protects you only if you're moving. Instead, that was something that just allowed players to sit in a single corner, and in Warzone, that was kind of problematic. So the Ghost effect now will only apply when a player is actually moving, as of this update a couple of days ago. This can be something that can be seen by an opacity change here in your icon on the minimap, so that to me is something that makes Ghost significantly less more of a crutch perk, which is phenomenal, especially when you take a look at some of the changes here that have been made to other perks, but also some of the other things in the perk 2 slot to begin with. I mean, of course, you end up having Overkill, which most people will take off first loading likely, but you have things like Restock, you have High Alert, you have Tempered. All of those are phenomenal options that now get to shine a little bit here because of this sort of nerf to Ghost. Now, another perk that was drastically changed here was Quick Fix, in which now inserting an armor plate will begin regenerating health as well. So if you don't have the ability to clean up a kill and get that health regeneration back immediately, all you have to do is put on an armor plate, which can help you out tremendously in gunfights. Quick Fix might actually be the meta right now, and I've been running it on basically all of my classes since this update went out, and I am entirely here for it. EOD was adjusted where it will reduce the damage or cap the damage, whichever is higher, and raise that cap from explosive damage from 80 to 200. The damage reduction was raised then from 35 to 45%. Restock saw a change in which Restock will now recharge all your equipment from 50 to 25 seconds, so quicker there with that, though Stim is now on a 60-second timer independently to reduce spam and gas abuse, which is definitely necessary, though I will say I think stims are absolutely still the most viable and useful equipment that we have right now, but that could mean you end up having quite a bit of stun grenade or flash grenade spam now at this point. And then finally, Scavenger was adjusted, in which the pouch will now have a cyan outline for those that have Scavenger equipped. It also increased the dissipation time from 20 seconds to a full 60 seconds, and each pouch now gives you +1 armor plate on top of previous items, which is definitely something that makes that a little bit nice and maybe viable. I don't think that I'd still take Scavenger again over anything in the perk 1 category of Double Time, EOD, or Quick Fix, and Cold-Blooded there to even combat Combat Scout. So I mean, Scavenger is an option, but still maybe not the best. But anyways, that's the changes here that we saw within Warzone, and also what we saw within Vanguard. The last 72 hours or so have absolutely proved to be pretty nice in terms of changes, I think, that help the overall health of both games, so I'm here for it. But that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. Just want to fill you guys in on some of these changes you may have missed and some things that were definitely worth noting. So that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Do you guys like these changes? Not so much. Anything in particular really stand out to you? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2 here potentially in the future. Whatever the case, we got you covered here with anything Call of Duty related. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.